Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to a live Manchester United news and transfer news show. Well, Fred, McTominay and Maguire are all exploring moves away from United. Fred priced at 20 million, McTominay priced at 40 to 45 million and Maguire priced at 40 million, meaning United could get, and I don't think they will, 100 million for Fred, McTominay and Maguire. And if Man United manage to get 100 million for Fred, McTominay and Maguire, you know what? John Murta, Richard Arnold, I take back bloody every negative thing I've said about you if that is the case. But I reckon they could easily get 80, 90 million pounds for these three players. Galatasaray taking the mick with Fred, but West Ham serious about McTominay and willing to put in a 40 million bid. And West Ham do want Maguire, but his wages make it a bit more difficult. I think Maguire will be the one that's more iffy to sell, but it looks like United could be getting around 50 to 60 million for McFred combined. A lot of people saying, is Donny going to go? I'm not quite sure what's going on with Donny van der Beek, but we will touch on that. United have been looking at Benjamin Pavard and Tobido and Disasi as a potential Maguire replacement, but we've always heard that Erik ten Hag wants to bring in a versatile attacker on top of Rasmus Højlund because he doesn't view Rasmus Højlund as ready. And Marcel van der Kraan has spoken about Kudus. Kudus is on United's list. David Ornstein confirmed that actually Kudus is a player that Manchester United are interested in. And while Kudus seems more Chelsea bound and more Arsenal bound, it was said by reliable Dutch journalists, Kudus wants the Premier League. Obviously, some clubs are more advanced like Chelsea and Arsenal, but if Man United showed an interest in Kudus, he would very easily ditch everything for Ten Hag. Kudus' dream would be United to play under Ten Hag again. And of course, we've got a lot of news coming in on Rasmus Højlund. So lots to talk about in today's show. So please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new and share the video as well. We've got a good update on Maino. Why are my things frozen? Am I frozen? Oh, there we go. We've got a really good update coming in on Kobbie Mainoo, people, and that is that Kobbie Mainoo is actually back in training and the injury is not serious. So smash the like button for that as well. Fabrizio Romano just recently tweeted just an update on the whole situation and said Manchester United negotiated with Atalanta for Rasmus Højlund today and direct talks continue between clubs. He said Man United feel they've match point now to attack the deal and then reach total agreement. Højlund has been clear he wants to join United. So Romano said there's negotiations today, there's direct talks between the clubs today. United pretty much at the end of this deal and very close to reaching a total agreement. And Højlund's been clear he wants to join United. PSG expressed an interest in Rasmus Højlund, even offered Rasmus Højlund a much higher wage. But Rasmus Højlund has been very clear with his thought process and goes, I want United, I want United. There's a feeling that could be here we go today for Rasmus Højlund or potentially tomorrow. It is getting very advanced. The whole Rasmus Højlund situation, and Romano said that the second bid could go in today. There's actually reports from Sky Sports Italy coming out, and I have to say I always take Italian reports with a big pinch of salt, but this is known to be a better Italian journalist, and it came out from Italy that Manchester United are on the verge of securing Rasmus Højlund's services with a written offer worth £60 million up front and £4 million in add-ons, which will be submitted in the coming hours. So United apparently about to submit a 60 million bid to get the deal done, according to Italy as well, which I think is a slight overpayment. But at the end of the day, I think Højlund is a great young player. I can't lie to you. Absolutely great young player. I mean, people were talking about Højlund to PSG. PSG want Rasmus Højlund, but from the likes of what Romano and people are saying, Højlund only wants United as well. And there's people trolling online saying Højlund's going to go to PSG, Højlund's going to go to PSG, but he's literally rejected PSG for United. So we've got lots of positive things to talk about, lots of positive things regarding Rasmus Højlund and other people as well. So we're going to get into the show, but it is good news about Maino. Maino injury is not too serious, and Glenn says I take all football stories with pictures on unless it comes from Romano. That's the difficult thing, because there are some good journalists, but a lot of good journalists are briefed by Man United and they do put out a bit of a whiffy-waffy. A lot of the British journalists, and I think Laurie Whitwell is probably one of the best journalists out there for United News, and I think he probably produces the best kind of content because he often gets like inside information. But Laurie Whitwell was saying £86 million for Rasmus Højlund, whereas Romano's been saying it's £60 million. There's a mass difference, and that is because Man United brief journalists in their circle things they want journalists to say. So while these journalists are not wrong, and these are very good journalists, sometimes they're briefed with stuff that I think United want them to say or put out, whereas Romano goes, look, I know that Atalanta will accept 60 million for Højlund, but the British journalists are saying they will accept 80 million for Højlund. So I think, there are good journalists that you can believe. David Ornstein, Laurie Whitwell, Sammy Mockbell, Mike Keegan, all very good journalists you can believe. But one thing about Romano is, and I think Romano gets way too much disrespect, is that you just know when Romano says something, he sometimes doesn't put out as much as he used to, but it is very accurate. Romano's not jumping on the Amrabat stories. There's Italian media saying Amrabat's in agreement with United, Amrabat's agreed to join. Like, there's Italian media heavily coming out, Amrabat this, Amrabat that, Amrabat this, Amrabat that, and saying that the deal is done, we've put in a bid, and Romano goes, look, United are in for Amrabat, they want Amrabat, but they're going to get Højlund first, and Romano seems to be right on every story. The amount of journalists that told us De Jong was done as a matter of time, and Romano went, no, De Jong is not done, there's still this issue. That's what I love about Romano. The amount of journalists that told us De Jong is done, Romano went, no. The amount of journalists that was telling us Kim Min-jae is done, Romano went, no. And Romano, he doesn't tell us a story that is done for clicks. He doesn't lie for clicks. He waits, and I think Romano is definitely one of the best sources out there as well. If it's 60 million plus 4 million, it's a rip-off rate. It should be 60 million including add-ons. It should be 55 million with add-ons to 60 at most. I think anything over 60 million, I do think we are being a little bit mugged off for Højlund, anything over 60 million. But look, I don't want to be negative at the moment. I'm really happy with United and the way we're going. And I think, at the end of the day, I'm really happy with Højlund being a signing. But I do think, the price tag is a little bit on the iffy side as well. And Man United should pay that 60 million. I think 60 million including add-ons would be the highest I would go, not 60 million up front as well. But as mentioned here, the transfer market is inflated as hell. Chelsea was rejected 80 million bid for Caicedo. What an absolute joke. What an absolute joke. Brighton. Do you know what it is? It's because West Ham managed to get Arsenal to pay 105 million. Declan Rice is probably an 80 million pound player. And I reckon, you could have probably got Declan Rice for about 90 million. But basically, because Arsenal paid 105 million for Declan Rice and Chelsea paid 100 million for Enzo Fernandez, Brighton are going to sit there and go, well, look, you paid 100 million for Enzo Fernandez, Arsenal paid 105 million for Declan Rice. Moises Caicedo is 21 years of age. He's arguably in that bracket already, 100 million. And I think Moises Caicedo is not worth more than 80 million, in my honest opinion. And that is because this is his only first real good season. But Arsenal and Chelsea have been paying 100 million on midfielders, so it's so inflated. And you've got to remember Rasmus Højlund, he's a striker. Strikers cost a lot more than midfielders. Harry Kane's got 1 year left on his contract and he's 30, and Daniel Levy wants 100 million pounds. Austin Hem has been quoted at 150 to 200 million pounds. Gonzalo Ramos, who's in the Portuguese league, is being quoted at 100 million pounds. Kolo Muani, who's in the Farmers Bundesliga, is being quoted at 100 million pounds. While I do think 60 million for Højlund is a bit of an overpayment, what you've got to realise is Atalanta brought in Højlund a year ago for 20 million euros. Atalanta view Højlund as this big prospect. They wined and dined. I don't know if you saw the clip on TikTok. They wined from Atalanta people speaking about signing Højlund. From Austria, they wined and dined with his family. Were really excited to bring Højlund, and they paid 20 million euros for Rasmus Højlund. So they want to make 40 to 50 million euros profit because they believe, and Atalanta believe really that Højlund is going to go to the top. Atalanta believe that Højlund is going to be a top player. He's going to reach that Haaland level. And the reason Atalanta want at least 60 million pounds is because they think that next season Højlund could be worth 100 million pounds. That's how high they view Højlund. People say he's only scored 9 goals, but you've got to remember, Atalanta are a well-run team with well-run scouting networks. They look at Rasmus Højlund and this guy's incredible. He had an absolutely incredible first season. He actually got the most goals a player under the age of 20 got in Serie A. You've got to remember that he was fantastic, not just goals and assists, but the runs he makes, his natural intelligence. And Atalanta think that Højlund could be worth 100 million next year, which is why they want 60 million. And I think, well, for me, he's a 50 million player, but I could go to 60 million in add-ons. I hope that United can get a deal done for less than 60 million, but you just have to look at the market. Like, Chelsea literally had an 80 million bid for Moises Caicedo rejected. And you know what? Do you know what? I'm actually glad we've got Mount and not Caicedo now. I was quite negative and I was quite reactionary at the start of the transfer window. I wanted Moises Caicedo, but to be honest, to be dealing with 100 million for Moises Caicedo, we could get Amrabat and Mount for less than it would to buy just Declan Rice or just Moises Caicedo. And I think when you actually look at the position we're in, we needed a Mount player and we needed an Amrabat player. We needed 2 midfielders. We needed someone that could do the Bruno and Eriksen role, which is Mount, but we also needed someone that could do the Casemiro, which is Amrabat. You could get Mount and Amrabat combined for about 75 to 80 million pounds when Moises Caicedo is 100, Enzo Fernandez is 100, Declan Rice is 105. I actually go, you know what? The market is really inflated. Even Szoboszlai to Liverpool cost 70 million pounds. I'm not too familiar with Szoboszlai, but I mean, he's got a good kick on him as well. But Liverpool had to pay 70 million pounds for Szoboszlai. So you look at the Amrabat price, fair enough. Darwin Núñez cost Liverpool 70, 80 million pounds. You look at the Højlund price, probably going to be about 55 to 60 million pounds. And you go, you know what? The market is really inflated. Fair enough. as well. Guys, please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. I've got a lot of stories to get into in terms of Maguire, McTominay, and more leaving as well. And where is the money coming from? Is this Kudus story too? Or is it just another player linked for money? Kudus will leave Ajax. Kudus has made it 100% clear he will leave Ajax. And David Ornstein has said Mohamed Kudus is on Manchester United's list. But just like other players, Kudus it depends on outs. Right now, it's Højlund. Get rid of you, McTominay as your Freds, replace them with Amrabat. And then if we sell Maguire, United will make a late move for a centre-back. If we don't sell Maguire and we get money in outs and we've got a bit of money spared, the United will be looking in for another attacker that's versatile, that can play across the front three. And while I think Kudus is more of a midfielder, Manchester United are definitely open to exploring a deal for Mohamed Kudus. He is definitely on the list as well. I think Chelsea are really pushing for Kudus and a lot more advanced. So are Arsenal. And if I was to give you my genuine, honest opinion, I don't think Kudus is going to end up at United. I would like Kudus to end up at United. I think he's a fantastic player. But as I've said, I don't think we're going to get Mohamed Kudus coming in to Manchester United. This summer, I think it will be Chelsea. I think it will be Arsenal. But I definitely think it is one to keep an eye on. As said, he's a good player. It's said by Marcel van der Kraan today, and it was said by David Ornstein. United are monitoring Mohamed Kudus. United have an interest in Mohamed Kudus. Mohamed Kudus would want to come to United. If 10R came knocking on the door, we would definitely be Kudus' first choice. But it all depends. It's said by Alfredo Padella that Manchester United's final bid for Rasmus Højlund will be made between today and tomorrow. And yeah, so basically, guys, we've just got breaking news coming in right now on Rasmus Højlund that the final bid is coming in between today and tomorrow. It said Manchester United's contacts for Rasmus Højlund are in progress. It's confirmed there will be a final bid between today and tomorrow. So the final bid for Højlund in the next 24 hours, and then that will be a good done deal. Good business if we can move unwanted players out, which is exactly what we're going to talk about in a second as well. And we should pay because we're desperate for a striker. I think Atalanta know we're desperate for a striker, which is why they're putting the price up. And Brighton not under pressure to sell. And you've got to give it to Brighton. They're a serious club. As soon as Chelsea put in an 80 million bid for Moises Caicedo, Brighton went, nah, sods bye. We ain't giving you that. Right away, they rejected it. Brighton are a serious club. They want 100 million. They would get 100 million. That is the problem as well. We need Højlund before our home game season start at Old Trafford 100%. If we've agreed to pay that much, I hope they've made a compromise on the amount we're paying up front. It could be third up front, means only £20 million of our transfer budget. I wish that, but Man United are going to have to pay a lot of money as well. Keep smashing the likes as well. Alice, 56 million plus 4 million add-ons, I think should be enough to get the done deal. And Alice, love you, but nobody's going to be at the high level. Yeah. So when I said Højlund has the potential to reach the Haaland level, which is why Atalanta want so much money for him, because they rate him so highly. And Højlund is seen as the next Haaland, and that's not just because their name is similar or anything like that. Højlund is a fantastic young player, and I said that's why his price will be hefty for a player that's only had one real season in the top 5 league, because they believe he's got the potential to reach that Haaland level. And Ten Hag rates Højlund really highly. I'm a big fan of Gonzalo Ramos. I watched a lot of Benfica last season, but Erik Ten Hag is sold on Rasmus Højlund, and you've got to back Erik Ten Hag's backing on that. And I think that Rasmus Højlund's an absolutely phenomenal player. Rasmus Højlund's a player I'm really happy that United are signing, and United do have to pay a little bit for it. Maguire will not go nowhere. United paying wages if you lose your stupid contract. The problem with Maguire is McTominay will leave, Fred will leave. The Maguire's going to be the most difficult one to sell because of Maguire's wages. Now, we will talk about the Maguire situation in just a second. I want to get into McTominay because McTominay 40 million deal is something that is becoming more and more likely. Ex-West Ham United employee, who is a very good West Ham source, we saw him with everything going on regarding Declan Rice in the transfer window, did say that Scott McTominay is now West Ham's main target for defensive midfield. Now, I'm going to say to West Ham, McTominay is fantastic for the Souček role, but not made for the Rice role. I think if West Ham went out there and they signed Edson Alvarez of Ajax and McTominay, brilliant. Or they signed Palhinha of Fulham and McTominay, brilliant. But you know what? If West Ham are giving us 40 million for McTominay, I don't care if West Ham are signing McTominay to do the Declan Rice role, even though that's not McTominay's role. Go for it. Give us 40 million for McTominay. But McTominay is West Ham's #1 defensive target. It was said West Ham are eager to bring Scott McTominay to the club. The Scotland international was highly rated by David Moyes, and the boss has made it clear he wants the fellow Scotsman. There is currently a gap in valuations, but the club hope Man United will soften their stance. So they did say, and this is ex-West Ham United employee, who is a very reliable source, United have asked for about £45 million for Scott McTominay. United have asked for £45 million for Scott McTominay. And the reason United have asked for a ridiculous amount of £45 million for Scott McTominay, because let's be honest, Scott McTominay is not worth £45 million in the slightest. He's worth £30 million. Is because West Ham got £105 million for Declan Rice. Declan Rice going for £105 million has inflated the transfer window, because now Brighton put up the price of Moises Caicedo. Everyone that West Ham want to buy, clubs are putting up the price because they know they've got £100 million. There's all that going on. And, Man United have gone to West Ham, £45 million, you can get Scott McTominay. West Ham will go, we're not paying that. West Ham Man United, they okay, we want 40 million. West Ham a bit like, we're not paying that. I think the deal will be done between West Ham and Man United for Scott McTominay for £35 million. I think McTominay is a very ambitious guy, and you can never knock McTominay's mentality. We can be critical on McTominay's performances, but you can never not knock his mentality. He wants game time. He wants to play. He's realised Amrabat is likely to come in, and Amrabat will become that first choice Casemiro backup. He will not play regular minutes at United. He is 26. He's in the prime of his career. He knows if he goes to West Ham, he plays week in, week out. McTominay's like, you know what, I want to go to West Ham, I want to leave. McTominay has been told he can leave United. McTominay reportedly wants to leave United, and West Ham want McTominay. Okay, McTominay is West Ham's #1 defensive target. Man United are taking the mick, asking for £45 million because they know they've got a load of money for Declan Rice. But let's be honest, Man United would easily have set £35 million on McTominay, because that will give us the ability to then go in and get Amrabat. Imagine this. We sign Amrabat for £25 million, and we sell McTominay for £35 million, and we sell Fred for £15 million. Fred and McTominay can get Manchester United 50 million combined. Amrabat we can buy for £25 million, and boom, there's 25 million left over, which could go towards something like Kudus, which could go potentially to a João Felix loan deal, which United is still exploring, which could even go for another centre-back, because if Maguire leaves, and I think Maguire leaving is the one most up in the air, I think Fred and McTominay will go. I'm not sure on the Maguire leaving situation, and I will get into that in a second, but potentially a centre-back coming in if Maguire leaves as well, which would be good business. Half said we should have paid 40 million, then 10 million for 4 seasons if he scores 20 plus goals as an add-on. I mean, it would be nice, but I can't do that as well. Kudus' story is more of a Neil Ashton spin to the press. I do think the Kudus story is one to take with a pinch of salt. I think Man United are exploring Kudus. David Ornstein's confirmed Kudus is on our list, but Kudus is not a priority. It's Højlund, Amrabat, sales, see what we've got left. Potentially a late move for Kudus, but I think by that point, Kudus will be Chelsea or Arsenal player. Kudus is desperate for a Premier League move. If it's between Man United, Chelsea and Arsenal, it's been said by top sources Kudus will join United because he loves Ten Hag. But Arsenal and Chelsea, particularly Chelsea, especially if they don't get Elise, because I think Man City are going to get Elise, £35 million release clause on Elise, what steal? We had to pay 100 million for Anthony. I think Kudus will probably go to Chelsea as well. I'm going to just scroll down the chat. I'm a little bit behind. Kudus is a baller, but even with the scales, can't see it this summer unless we work out a loan with an obligation. Exactly. I think potentially if we did manage to get 45 million from McTominay, which we won't get, and 20 million for Fred and 40 million for Maguire, and we do manage to get 100 million in selling free players, then potentially the money is there for Kudus. But I don't think we're going to get the 100 million. We've priced Maguire and McTominay at 40 million and Fred at 20 million, which is 100 million. But I think we'll probably get 80 million for those three, saying we sell those three. And I think Alex is right. I think Kudus will be a difficult one to do. I do think, though, and I've always said this, it is Højlund this week, sales, Amrabat within the next week, because McTominay and Fred are very close to leaving. Then I think there could be a late move in August. Now, if Maguire goes, that will be a centre-back. If we maybe make another sale like Donny van der Beek, it could be another attacker. Because let's be honest, if you sell Donny, McTominay and Fred, imagine replacing Donny, McTominay and Fred with Amrabat, Mount, and, of course, Kudus. That is not bad business. Kudus can replace Donny, but a bit more attacking-minded. Mount obviously replaces Fred, and Amrabat replaces McTominay. That's pretty good business. So, but I don't think it would happen unless we made a significant amount of money announced. But I do think if he's available late in the transfer window, there's a chance. And it was said by Marcel van der Kraan, who went on Sky Sports. He's a fantastic journalist, saying if Ten Hag knocks on the door seriously for Mohamed Kudus, he will go for United. And Ornstein has said, yep, United like Mohamed Kudus, but he's not an out-and-out target. And the thing is with Kudus is I don't think he's 100% the player we need. In all honesty, like I don't think he's really a priority. I think he's someone that actually, at the end of the window, if we could add an extra name to the attack line and get someone like Kudus, it'd be brilliant. But I don't think he's a priority. You know, if we bring in Rasmus Højlund, and we have money left to, to sign him, brilliant, because he's comfortable playing across the front three, and Ten Hag has said he wants someone that's comfortable playing across the front three. He's most comfortable centrally and on the right, but what Kudus could do is he could play centre forward. We know that Rasmus Højlund, United want to take the pressure off him. United don't want Rasmus Højlund to be playing striker every single game. United are interested in taking the pressure off Rasmus Højlund. So with Mohamed Kudus, what Sancho has been doing is playing centre forward. Mohamed Kudus can play the Sancho role centre forward, which he's seen in pre-season. He can also play off the right-hand side, which means if Kudus can play off the right-hand side, United can implement Sancho in the centre forward role, potentially Rashford striker, and obviously Sancho on the left-hand side. So I think Kudus would be good on top of Højlund. We know that Ten Hag's made it clear he wants a versatile forward as on top of Højlund. If Ten Hag has the money, this is what he will do. It will be Højlund, it will be Amrabat, it will be bring in a centre-back and sell Maguire, and it will be bringing a versatile forward like Mohamed Kudus if Ten Hag has the money. What I obviously said about Kudus, he's comfortable playing across the front three. He can play as advanced 8 as well, so he can play in that Mason Mount Bruno role. And I think because Kudus is more of a Bruno Fernandes role kind of player, with us signing Mason Mount, I don't think he's priority, but he's very athletic. He can play advanced 8. He's fantastic. I do think though, Amad Diallo, people, I think Amad Diallo is able to play that role. I think Amad Diallo could play the Kudus. Let's say we sign Kudus, but we don't sign Kudus. But the role Kudus would play if we signed him, I think Amad Diallo has potential to be a player very similar to Mohamed Kudus. And maybe I'm just going off the 3 games I watched Amad Diallo play at Sunderland, and I'm not an expert on Sunderland FC. But there's something about Amad Diallo that, I think his best position is not a wide winger, almost like a right-sided number 8. And for me, I think that's Mohamed Kudus' best position. But Kudus is a great dribbler, great ball carrier. Although I had a poor season, Kudus was the standout player, and 100% he'd be a great signing for United. But it is definitely don't think that one's going to happen as well. Sadly, United can only make 1 signing a month and cannot sell a player. Yeah, but that might be changing. Positive vibes, positive vibes. Onana and Højlund should be done this month. Højlund probably will be done in August, actually. Onana, Højlund. We've got Mount in June, Onana in July, Højlund in August. But Maguire, McTominay, Fred sold in August. Centre-back in, Amrabat in August. And potentially another signing in August would be great as well. Maguire has no ambition. He's happy to be a 4th and 5th choice centre-back to warm the bench. Do you know what? I blame Southgate for this. I like Harry Maguire, believe it or not. I think Harry Maguire is a much better centre-back than people make out. I think there is a decent player in Harry Maguire. And I think as a 4th choice centre-back, you can't get much better than Harry Maguire as a 4th choice centre-back. In terms of actually, well, you can. You could get rid of Maguire, you sell Kim Min-jae, and Lindelof becomes the 4th choice centre-back. And Lindelof has been better than Maguire the last year. Realistically, we should have sold Maguire and we should have brought in Kim Min-jae. Because realistically, for me, and this is what my point is, if we sell Maguire, we want to be bringing in someone that's going to kick Varane out and put Varane on the bench. That's what I want. If we sell Maguire now, Disasi's not better than Varane. There's not many centre-backs out there that's going to put Varane on the bench. That's the problem. So if, we're selling Maguire to bring in a centre-back that's just going to be Maguire level, not for me. And people go, oh, anyone's better than Maguire, anyone's better than Maguire. They're not. Maguire is on 200k, over 200 grand a week, so cannot be 4th choice centre-back. A player that is on over 200 grand a week has to be playing week in, week out. So that's my problem with Maguire. If Maguire was on 60k a week and wanted to be 4th choice centre-back, I'm all for it. I think he's a good 4th choice centre-back. I think he's a lot better than a lot of other 4th choice centre-backs. But Maguire needs the ambition of, I play for England. I am a good Premier League level centre-back. At United, I'm not going to get the appreciation I deserve. And at United, I'm not going to get the minutes because, while Maguire's a good Premier League level centre-back, he's not a title-winning centre-back. He's not a major trophy-winning centre-back. Maguire needs to go to another Premier League club, play week in, week out, show some ambition. But Maguire's on over 200 grand a week at United. Southgate has basically said to Maguire, you can play 2 minutes the whole of next season, and you still be starting in England in the Euros. So because Maguire knows he'll play for England, because Maguire knows he's on over 200 grand a week, he's not going to move clubs unless he knows he's going to get a significant amount of money. And no one wants to pay Maguire's wages. So I don't mind keeping Maguire as a 4th centre-back because I think he's a good option. Obviously, we should have sold Maguire and we should have brought in Kim Min-jae. And I think, if we sell Maguire, we need to bring in Tobido. We need to actually bring in someone good. I'm not a big fan of Disasi, but I've not watched enough of him to be too judgmental. But you just don't want a 4th choice centre-back on 200 grand a week. And I think that's why Ten Hag wants him sold. Ten Hag is not fussed about selling Maguire, was said. It said that Ten Hag is not super fussed about selling Maguire because he knows he's a good player, but he doesn't want a 4th choice centre-back on 200k a week. McTominay's got the ambition. He wants to play. He wants to go to West Ham. I appreciate McTominay for that. Maguire doesn't seem that keen on leaving, and that is because he's just going to stay and get ridiculous money here. That is the big problem we've caused. Thank you very much for the super chat, Nate. Maguire cannot play progressive football, too slow. I think he'll improve with Onana behind him, but I don't think he 100% suits Ten Hag's style. If United get 45 million from McTominay, I will be very happy. Tellers and Alanga have left. We've got rid of Tellers, we've got rid of Alanga. We're going to get rid of Bailly. We're likely to get rid of Fred McTominay. And if we got rid of a Maguire in the same window, that would be brilliant. Eric Ten Hag has changed our midfield, Alice. We have gone from Fred to having Amrabat, Ericsson, and Maino as backup, which is good. Yeah, hopefully that is the case as well. Scott McTominay is pure profit and could do a job at a mid-table club. Need to sort that rather than let him decline in value. 100%. As we said on the channel before, what's the point in keeping Scott McTominay to be a bit part player? He will decrease in value. We can get about 40 million for Scott McTominay this window. This time next year, he'll be a year older. He would have been a bit part player and not played a lot. Probably be worth 20 million. So United need to sell McTominay now when he's worth money as well. Guys, please do hit the like button as said down below as well. And would you swap Kudus for Ahmad? Potentially, I would use Ahmad going on loan to Hijack in a deal for Kudus, but I think I wouldn't want to get rid of Ahmad, but I think he needs a good loan. I think he's not going to play enough next season, to be honest, as well. I love Scott. He's a very, very good player, and he works hard. I love seeing him play more football. I'd like to see him play more football, just not at Man United. And Arsenal got ripped off for Rice, but they were completely mugged off in Havertz still. I still don't know why Arsenal paid 65 million for Havertz. Mason Mount was one of Chelsea's best players, and we paid 55 million. Havertz has been a flop for Chelsea and lives off the Champions League goal, and they paid 65 million. It's crazy. And you know what? Fair play to Chelsea. Chelsea are trying to get 40 million for Conor Gallagher as well, which is crazy as well. Donny swapped in for Kudus. You know what? Donny's open to going back to Ajax, but I think you'd have to offer at least 20 million in cash to potentially for that to work as well. But it would be nice swap Donny, bring in Kudus as well. It is an early live video. I was going to do a live stream at 4, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a live stream at 3. I'm not really doing much. There's a lot of news to talk about. I didn't go live yesterday, so I am doing an earlier live stream than normal as well. Is there money left in the Ronaldo salary? Do you know what annoys me? Do you know what really annoyed me? And this is going a bit off topic because we've got some more news coming in on Rasmus Højlund just now. But do you know what really wound me up? Was when we signed Weghorst on loan, we literally, basically, from selling Ronaldo, we made like 20 million, including his wages, including selling Ronaldo, we saved 20 million pounds. And I just think at the end of the day, yes, Gakpo was about 35 million pounds. So we would have had to pay 15 million pounds for Gakpo. But Gakpo was Ten Hag's priority. They should have gone, you know what, we sold Ronaldo. Instead of replacing him with Weghorst, we're going to go and get Gakpo. When we missed out on Gakpo, yes, João Felix's loan fee was extortionate. And yes, João Felix wasn't fantastic at Chelsea. But I solely believe João Felix would have been fantastic at United under Ten Hag. And we should have then gone for João Felix. It makes me to this day annoyed, really annoyed that we went for that Weghorst to replace Ronaldo. When we actually did make about 20 million from getting rid of Ronaldo to Saudi Arabia. It was just United classically not wanting to spend money as well. Maguire is 5th choice. Oh, yeah, because of Luke Shaw as well. Definitely think Fred will leave, but McTominay and Maguire ain't going to get money. They want elsewhere. They'll stay and we'll pay off wages. I think McTominay will leave. I think McTominay's got the ambition to leave. I think West Ham really do want McTominay. They've got the money for him. And the difference between McTominay and Maguire, and the reason I think McTominay will leave, but I'm not sure Maguire, is because McTominay is actually on normal wages. Man United haven't given McTominay ridiculous wages. Thank you. Whereas we've given a lot of other players ridiculous wages. McTominay is one of the few players United have gone, you know what, we're not going to massively overpay you as well. I would keep Harry Maguire if it means we waste money on another centre-back. That money could be used for striking or depth or versatile player. Exactly. I'm all for keeping Maguire unless we've got a good replacement lined up as well. That's what I feel on the whole situation as well. Maguire leaving United, I think, will be better. And the thing about Maguire is I think he gets too much stick. I don't think he's made to play at the highest level. I think taking the captain's armband off him has done him a favour because I don't think he has that mentality to play for a club like United. He doesn't know how to deal with it. He's not very well PR trained. So I think it will be best for Maguire to leave United because I think it takes the pressure off him. He's fantastic for England. He was fantastic for Leicester. He has had good spells at United where he has been a good centre-back. That season where Dean Henderson played, where we came second under Ollie, Maguire had a really, really good season for United. And there is a good player in Maguire. We see it for England, but he's not there at United. And I think it would be so beneficial for Maguire to leave United for his career. And I think definitely. A lot of people saying you don't know much about the French defender. I don't know much about the French defenders we're linked to, so I'm not going to lie to that as well. And will Johnny Evans be able to impact the season? No. I see people saying, oh, Evans should replace Harry Maguire. Johnny Evans is not better than Harry Maguire. He used to be better than Harry Maguire, but he ain't better than Harry Maguire now. He played alongside Harry Maguire at Leicester for a little bit as well. Money should be secondary to Maguire. It should be playing every week. If he's happy to sit on the bench, he's got the wrong mentality, and United don't need players like that. And I agree. I think if Maguire's happy to sit on the bench all season, rather than go to a club that's going to play him week in, week out, it says to me that he was never captain material. You know, for your captain to have captaincy stripped of you, to be told you're no longer captain and you can leave this summer, and that your fifth choice centre back to say, now I want to stay, it shows a lack of ambition. You know, it does, and it shows a Phil Jones kind of ambition. And maybe Maguire's fallen out with football. He's got a lot of hate, but I just think there's a good player in Maguire. It's not Phil Jones with the injuries. There's a good player in Maguire that plays for England, what would be important in the Euros, that could have a good Premier League season for another club. And he's still got a couple of years left in him. And I just think it would be worth it for him to redeem his career. I think that Maguire's a good centre-back. I've said this to this day. He's just not been great for United. And there's obviously he's captain, he's 80 million. So, of course, we overreact and we feel that he's a lot worse than he is. And Maguire's got this reputation of being a clown, of being rubbish. But if Maguire went to West Ham and was a solid player for West Ham, he would redeem his reputation of, okay, maybe he wasn't a top-level centre-back in the sense of he was never going to win you titles or Premier Leagues, but he would redeem his reputation of, you know, everyone's like, this is a good centre-back. This is the England centre-back. This is Harry Maguire. Rasmus Højlund to United is advancing very quickly as well. We will get into that as well. Do you think Højlund will be better than Gakpo? Hopefully. Maybe next season Gakpo will be better, but I think Højlund eventually as well. Maguire might push and move nowhere back. It seems he's booed off the pitch on tour every time he touches the ball. And I have to say, I felt sorry for Maguire. I don't get why fans are booing Maguire in the slightest as well. And Alice, are you going to Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest on the 26th of August? Because if you're going, I might see that. I don't know. I'll see which games I'll get tickets to this season as well. And breaking, Manchester United are on the verge of signing Rasmus Højlund for 70 million euros plus 5 million. The written bid is submitted in the coming hours as well. So there is a feeling that United are going to put in a 60 million bid for Rasmus Højlund. And by the way, that 60 million bid that United are going to put in for Rasmus Højlund, if this story is true, that will be accepted. That will be accepted as well. Disasi's replacement for Maguire is an error. I take Tobido over Maguire. I agree. Maguire, fifth choice and doesn't suit the Gaffer system, is on huge wages. Best for him to move on. I agree. Ahmad is better than Anthony. I mean, Palestri. Guys, let's talk about Palestri. Palestri's looked the best in pre-season. Not going to lie to you as well. Thank you very much, Xavi, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the updates. Appreciate the super chat. Means a lot as well. And Maguire has to play in a back three. No, Maguire can play in a back four, but I think if Maguire had actually gone to Man City, he would have been a decent centre back for them in their system, believe it or not. And I'm not protecting Maguire or anything, but I actually believe that, you know, we didn't play to his strengths. When you sign a player for 80 million, you know, you expect him to be better than he is, and you expect him to fit in no matter how you play. But I will say this with Harry Maguire, and I will say this with Paul Pogba: we never play to their strengths. Yes, you expected more from them because of their price tag. And yes, they were not good enough, Maguire or Pogba, or consistent enough. But had we built a team around Paul Pogba, had we built a team around Harry Maguire, it could be a different story. Had we got a very pacey centre-back next to Maguire instead of Lindelof, and we got a goalkeeper that was very good at coming off his line, so Maguire didn't have to worry about his lack of pace, fantastic. Had we got Casemiro in 3 seasons earlier to play with Paul Pogba, fantastic. United have had their flops in Maguire and Pogba, who we spent a lot of money on that haven't been good enough. But I also think, you know, we were buying players for the sake of buying players. We didn't build a team. You know, we had a team of 11 players, but it wasn't a team. You know, if we had, you know, if you buy an 80 million centre back in Maguire, you've got to build a team around Maguire. You've got to get a centre back that's going to pair Maguire well. You've got to get in a goalkeeper that's going to work well with Maguire. We didn't do that. Same with Pogba. Had we brought Casemiro, let's say Pogba didn't have the worst injury record in the world, but had we had prime Casemiro playing with prime Pogba and Pogba staying fit, I'm telling you this now, Pogba's been useless the last 2 seasons because he's been injured. But we know what Pogba can do. Imagine we got prime Pogba fit playing the Eriksen role next to Casemiro. Like that. Casemiro, prime Pogba, Bruno. Fantastic midfield. I think Pogba would have suited Ten Hag's system, but I'm glad we got rid of Paul Pogba because he's just too injury prone. It's like Martial. Martial's good on his day, but he's inconsistent injury prone. Pogba's good on his day, he's inconsistent injury prone. United don't always utilise the strength of their players as well. United weren't quick enough with Gakpo. The reason Gakpo went to Liverpool was because Gakpo wanted to go to United, agreed to join United. United in January said to Gakpo, we can't spend money, you're going to have to wait till summer. Gakpo was like, I don't even want to risk waiting till summer because once if Man United in summer decide they don't need me, they decide that they want Rasmus Højlund instead. Liverpool was like, we'll buy you now, Gakpo. Goes to Liverpool. See, that is the problem with the Gakpo situation is Liverpool were just like, we'll get you now. He wanted to leave. He wanted to move to the Premier League. United told him to wait. Guys, we've got takeover news that's coming from Sky Sports. Takeover news that's coming on from Sky Sports. Are you ready for this story? Are you ready for this story? Because there's a whole lot of... Ugh. There are expected to be developments on the sale of the club when the team returns from the US. We were also told there was expected to be developments in March. We were also told there was expected to be developments after the FA Cup final. We've also been told by 5 different sources in the last 3 months that the deal is imminent for nothing to happen weeks later. And we've now been told there will be developments when the team returns from the US. How many times have we heard this? How many times have we heard this and nothing? Did a video 2 weeks ago saying takeover is imminent from some source. Don't know who it was. It wasn't even a bad source, but they were saying the takeover is imminent. Well, it's been 2 weeks. It clearly wasn't imminent. Great. Oh, great. We're going to find... The problem is, I could look at this and go, oh my God, we're going to find out when the team gets back from the US. And I think Sky Cavan is a good journalist. But how many times have we been told we're going to find out in March? We're going to find out at the FA Cup final. We'll find out at the end of the season. We'll find out in May. We'll find out in June. We'll find out in July. We're going into August. I just know that maybe we will find out something in the next week. Maybe we will find out something next week with the takeover. Maybe the Glazers are going to announce they're staying. Woo! God, that would be the worst case scenario. But there's a part of me that thinks I'll be sitting here in a month on a live stream saying, oh, this source says we're going to find out in September. I'll be in September doing a live stream. This source says we're going to find out in November. You know, just the takeover news is like, really with the do you know what I mean? It's just a bit of really. Maguire should go to Saudi Arabia. Nah, Maguire's better than that. Jordan Henderson's gone to Saudi Arabia. That announcement video, bloody hell. They did a whole announcement video for Jordan Henderson, and they black and whited his armband just because it had a rainbow on. I didn't realise they were that extra. It's just a bloody armband. But that did make me laugh a little bit because everyone was winding Saudi Arabia up in the comments. I thought, bloody hell. But I have to say, Jordan Henderson get a lot of stick for going to Saudi Arabia, but he's on 700 grand a week. You know, can you blame him? Can 700? I guess he's already on 200 grand a week, so why does he need the 700 grand a week? But this is my thoughts. If you're over 30 and Saudi Arabia offering you crazy money, I'm not going to judge a player for going. If you're under 30 and you're a great player, I am going to judge you for going. But if you're coming towards the end of your career, I say, and you're being offered that kind of money, I'm not going to judge any player to go into Saudi Arabia, even if they're a pride ally. You know, you are being offered 700 grand a week. And I like Saudi Arabia at the moment. Do you know why I like Saudi Arabia at the moment? Because they're going to buy Tellez and they're going to buy Bailly. Because no one else wants to buy Tellez and Bailly, but Saudi Arabia do. So I do like Saudi Arabia, just because they can buy our deadwood. Thank you very much. Sale news is just boring as well. People saying Maguire should go to the Saudi League. Now, Maguire's too good for the Saudi League as well. We did build a team around Harry under Ollie, and our players suffered 2 DMs tucking in fullbacks. I guess to an extent, I just don't think the Lindelof part. I think when I'm saying build a team around the centre back, I'm thinking goalkeeper and centre back. I don't think Lindelof and De Gea suited Maguire. We adapted to Harry, but I think we should have brought in that quick centre back and brought in that goalkeeper. I think when we played with Dean Henderson, he was a little bit better. Not blaming De Gea at all, though. But yeah, we need to improve our scouting network. Like we picked up good players under Sir Alex. We're now just overplaying for players from Ajax and Dortmund. Need to learn. We definitely need to improve our scouting network. I think, you know, we need to stop going for the obvious names. But it's frustrating because you see Ragnick coming in and suggesting Alvaro, Enzo Fernandez and Julian Alvarez. Ragnick comes in, Julian Alvarez, Enzo Fernandez, go sign them. There'll be 25 million combined. Look at them now. Julian Alvarez would be fantastic, and Enzo Fernandez. Imagine people. We had Enzo Fernandez, Bruno, and Casemiro in a midfield three. Casemiro, Enzo Fernandez, Casemiro, Enzo Fernandez, Bruno Fernandez. That's like a tongue twister. Casemiro, Enzo, and Bruno. Fantastic. Could have got Enzo for 12 million euros, 10 million quid. Had we listened to Ralph Rangnick. Julian Alvarez, we need a young striker. Yeah? How much would it have been? 15 million. World Cup winner. Crazy. Absolutely crazy as well. We'd be told we'd be sold by the first quarter of the year back in December. Do you know what's mad is we were told the sale will be done by the first quarter of 2023 back in December, and it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, yeah, I will believe takeover news when it is literally announced by the club itself. There are some fantastic journalists out there like David Ornstein, but I am so done with this takeover that unless it literally I see it happening with my eyes, announcements, worldwide news, I just can't believe anything with this takeover anymore. I really can't as well. Where did I get the news from? Sky Sports on the takeover. If you're talking about the takeover story as well, we will get a little bit into the Maguire leading story. West Ham interested in Maguire. West Ham interested in McTominay. Galatasaray people interested in Fred. But I tell you what, Galatasaray can do one. Why are you bidding 6 million than 8 million for Fred? The price tag for Fred is 20 million. That means you can probably get a deal done at 15 million. We're not going to sell Fred for less than 15 million. He will have some value for us next season. So I don't know why Galatasaray are doing 6 million and 8 million bids for Fred. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, that, isn't it? So just put in a proper bid, or you're wasting your time. Everyone's saying there's expected to be developments on the takeover this week. It's going all over the internet, but we know that means nothing will probably happen as well. If there are developments on the takeover, though, make sure you're subscribed, because when we actually get developments on the takeover, of course, I will make a video on it as well. I want to quickly get into the Maguire news. I want to get into the story on Maguire. There is more Højlund news coming out that United are going to put in a bid for Højlund today or tomorrow, and here we go, will be sorted. But new, West Ham have held initial talks with Manchester United over Maguire and McTominay. There's a gap in valuation for both players, as United see them as important members of the squad. Now, McTominay to West Ham is more realistic because McTominay has been counted as West Ham's #1 defensive target, whereas Maguire is less realistic. This is partly because of his loan. Is that West Ham is still pushing to sign Maguire, a loan or permanent deal is not being ruled out. It was also said in terms of other midfielders that United want to sell. Galatasaray and Fulham are interested in Fred. Galatasaray are pushing to sign Fred. Fulham has showed interest but not happy with the 20 million price. I don't know why we can't get 15 million for Fred. Fred is a good player. Yes, maybe not 20 million, but I don't know how clubs are bidding less than 10 million for Fred. Fred is a good player. I don't get it. And obviously, Manchester United have stepped up efforts to sell Fred because they wanted to help fund a move for Amrabat. United are actively encouraging talks with Galatasaray for Fred, and Fulham retain an interest. But more likely he's going to go to Turkey. We just want to get Amrabat in, so we just want to get Fred sold essentially as well. What is this comment? Oh my god! So I just saw a funny comment. I won't read it out. It's been inappropriate, but I just saw a bit of a funny comment there in the chat. Let me scroll down as well. We need to bring back Rangnick as director of football after takeover. Clearly, Erik ten Hag don't have a problem with him. It's Glazers forced him out. Glazers did force him out because he spoke crap about the Glazers. I think I would happily bring Rangnick back as part of a team because I do think Rangnick's got very good talent ID, and I think that's something United need. But it's just a bit negative as well. People think could be stop manipulation regarding the sale as well. And we're allowed to get behind Moyes, please, by Scotty and Maguire. Moisey, if you buy Scotty and Maguire, you are big old Man United. If you can give us 80 million for McTominay and Maguire, David Moyes, yes, bloody please. I'll tell you that now. Yes, please. Also, by the way, guys, Man United get 15 million for Elanga. But if Nottingham Forest qualify for Europe, we'll get another 5 million, which unlikely, but we could get up to 20 million for Elanga as well. I saw a really good thread on Rasmus Højlund by a guy on Twitter called Fredman Chaza, and he did a bit of research around Højlund. He obviously said that Højlund got 9 goals and 4 assists in 32 league appearances. However, he only played the equivalent of 24 90s, and he was often subbed on and didn't start the games. So in terms of playing 20 games of full 90 minutes, he got 13 goal contributions in 20 games, if you look at it that way, and that actually Rasmus Højlund provided a goal or assist every 0.64 games, which is pretty good. Which means approximately he gets a goal or assist in 2 out of 3 games. So although people talk about his 9 goals, he gets a goal or assist in 2 out of 3 games. And people keep saying he only scored 9 goals last season. Why are United buying him? And he said, you've got to dig a little deeper than that. He's young. He's getting goals at a young age in a top 5 league. But it's about what he does. It's about that he can create, that he can get assists. He can make those runs. And I think he makes a good point there. A lot of people worrying about Rasmus Højlund's lack of goals. And yes, I think Harry Kane would be more beneficial because Harry Kane's just a new level. Harry Kane comes in and scores an unreal amount of goals. But Rasmus Højlund's definitely a positive one as well. Scrolling down as well, Evans will be a better 5th choice. Said about the Maguire, I disagree. Evans will be less money, which won't be bothered about playing each week. Evans is better for the dressing room, but Maguire's better for the pitch. Maguire's a better player than Johnny Evans. Like I like Johnny Evans, but like he is finished. He is finished as well. Why don't we just not swap Fred with Amrabat? Because Fiorentina don't want Fred. Oh, they don't want to pay his wages potentially as well. Fred's wages are high, which probably doesn't help. McTominay's wages are reasonable. Fred's wages are high, and Maguire's wages are ridiculous as well. That's the problem as well. Just scrolling down through the chat as well. We had Pace and Bai just couldn't stay fit. And I felt a little bit sorry for Bai because I thought there was times where I was like, why aren't we playing Eric Bai? There was amount of times where, you know, Maguire was really bad or was injured, and then Ollie was like, yeah, nah, sorry, Eric Bai, still not going to play you. I'm just like, what? Why? You know, Eric Bai definitely deserved a few more minutes at United than he got. You know, I think Ollie should have played Eric Bai definitely a bit more than he did. Oh, a lag. Are we lagging? No, we're working now. Keep smashing the like button, guys. So today's news summary is United's bid is going in for Højlund today or tomorrow. For Fabrizio Romano, here we go for Højlund in the next 48 hours. United have an interest in Kudus, but I don't think Kudus to United will happen unless we make a lot of money in outs. Definitely a player that Ten Hag would be interested in, but it depends on the money. Man United to pay 75 million euros for Rasmus Højlund to get the deal done. Personally, Romano said a deal will be done at 70 million euros, so I don't know why United would be bidding 75 million euros. So I would take that sort of a pinch of salt. But Romano has said that United's final bid is expected potentially in the next 24 to 48 hours. In other news, the player that Man United are linked to every summer, Ousmane Dembélé, is apparently on the verge of going to PSG. Imagine Ousmane Dembélé at PSG. That would be a very good sign of them. I think Ousmane Dembélé is a good player as well. Just saw stat of the day, 4 of Liverpool's starting lineup from the 2019 Champions League final will be in Saudi Arabia within 4 years of winning. Crazy stat of the day as well. Just scrolling through the live chat. If you've got any questions on transfer news, updates and more, please do put them in the live chat. Steve has said we're on 198 likes. 2 of you, we've got over 600 people watching. Only 2 of you need to go out there and hit that like button. So I don't know what you're doing. Just smash the like button, people, as well. Everyone I know that watches Serie A regularly thinks Højlund isn't ready to be a starter at top club. However, they all agree the kid has like a high ceiling. And I think that's fair. I think Ten Hag knows that. I think playing Sancho false 9, playing Rashford striker, keeping Martial around, and also saying to the board he wants a versatile attacker that can play across the front three is all because while Ten Hag rates Højlund highly, he doesn't want to make him the number 9 we have to rely on. And that's absolutely perfect behaviour from Ten Hag. And Ten Hag knows that. Ten Hag in an ideal world will sign Højlund and sign a João Felix or a Hamid Kudus or whoever he wants to add, essentially. Ooh, notification coming through. I think, you know, he's a fantastic player with a high ceiling, and that's why his price is. I think Højlund doesn't come in and score 20 goals this season. He's not Harry Kane. And I think in an ideal world, we'd have signed Harry Kane and Rasmus Højlund. Potentially, if we had Qatar, we would have the transfer window we just had with Harry Kane on top of Højlund. But we don't have Qatar. We have the Glazers. The takeover's not sorted. There's a fear that the Glazers are going to announce they're staying at the end of the transfer window, and they're going to just wait until they get Højlund and Amrabat done before they announce they're staying. PR. There's also a feeling that Qatar are going to be announced, and apparently there's a feeling that Sejin Ratcliffe is winning. So there's a feeling of all 3 outcomes from 3 different news stories. So actually the feeling is no one knows nothing on the actual takeover, and all the information coming out on the takeover is a load of bull. But, you know, lots of interesting things coming out. But the takeover story, you know what, Højlund's a good player, but I think that chat is spot on as well. Cheers, Jude, for the chat. Hi, Alice, good work. North Borneo. What is that? Is that like Malaysia or Papua New Guinea? Borneo. That's like Papua New Guinea, is it? Unless I'm thinking somewhere else. Alice, I think Ten Hag prefers a striker who can do the defensive job, pressing, chase down perfectly, rather than create like Kane. I think Kane can do that. I think, but Kane and Højlund are definitely the profiles he likes the most as well. I hope we put in a bid ASAP. This is dragged on. Fred deserves to be at least 15-20 million. What's happening to Fulham and their interest being called? Yeah, it's crazy. I think they just know it's United and are desperate to sell. The thing is, United want Amrabat. United are interested in Amrabat, but we can't get Amrabat done until Fred or McTominay is sold. So once we sign Højlund, we need to get Fred or McTominay out so we can get Amrabat before potentially someone like Liverpool swoop in. Liverpool have lost Jordan Henderson, Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, potentially Fabinho. Liverpool have lost 4 or 5 midfielders. I mean, technically Arthur, who never played. Liverpool have signed Szoboszlai and McAllister, but Liverpool might feel they need another 2 midfielders on top of that as well. So they could go for Lavia and potentially Amrabat, but Liverpool's focus seems to be on Amrabat. Lavia, and Arsenal seem to have Thomas Partey staying, so I don't think they'll go for Amrabat. But I still think we need to hurry up with the Amrabat situation because I don't think it's as advanced as some Italian media reports. Takeover news, please. Apparently, we're going to find out something very, very soon on the takeover. But they said that in March, they said that in February, they said that in January, and I just laugh at those stories now. Let's push for 250 likes, people, of course. I do think Mashi could dip a bit if he's played centrally too often. He's less effective at number 9. I agree. I like Rashford, and I think he can play number 9 some games, but he is clearly best on the wing as well. Season starts in 2 weeks. Not got Højlund or Amrabat yet. Plus, both need medicals. True. I think Højlund will be here in time for the first game of the season. I think Amrabat, could be a little bit later, but I don't think Amrabat's a difficult deal to do. He's available for a very reasonable price tag as well. Still need a ball carrying a midfielder, or at worst, someone who can hold the ball. But yeah, I mean, what we needed was someone like Moises Caicedo, but I don't blame us for not going in with Brighton asking for 100 million. It's just absolutely crazy as well. It was said the Glazer family are considering both bids. Neither reached their 6 million valuation. And there's a unanimous agreement needed, which will probably be the story on the takeover. They say we're going to get takeover news very soon, and then we'll get told no one bid is 6 billion, so you've got to wait even longer as well. Kobbie Mainoo was spotted in training, guys. Apparently Kobbie Mainoo's injury is not too bad as well. So positives are there coming out on Kobbie Mainoo. And then there's a few rumours coming out on the takeover from Wall Street, all that. But I personally don't believe in that. A lot of the rumours as well. I would just say we actually just have to wait on takeover news until it happens as well. 100 million now, we can get Kane. I mean, if we could make 100 million in sales, maybe we could get Kane, but we've got to dream on. We've got to dream on as well. Kudus is a very good player and has good quality. I mean, look, Kudus would be great at United, but I think he will go to Chelsea as well. And Højlund is young and developing, a bit crazy not getting him earlier to help integrate. Exactly. Højlund could have benefited from pre-season. And I do think there's still a profile needed in midfield. I think Amrabat ticks a lot for value for money. I think, and realism, Amrabat's probably one of the best things we can do this summer on top of Mount. If we just sign Mount, we're in trouble next summer. If we get Amrabat on top of Mount, you saw that Eriksen was lost against Real Madrid. You saw that midfield was lost against Real Madrid. You know, if you have Amrabat, you don't have to bring on Eriksen. You can play Casemiro, Amrabat, Bruno. Casemiro, Amrabat, Bruno against the big sides. Casemiro, Bruno, Mount against the small sides. Perfect. Then Eriksen's there for good bench depth. Amrabat is also bench depth. Mason Mount could be bench depth and also start. Perfect. As well. Shame we can't get Ostenhem. Ostenhem has just been priced out of the move. Ostenhem's open to leaving Napoli, but no one can get him as well. If Qatari ownership materializes, I will cancel my premium membership and season ticket. Why? Don't know why. I mean, if Qatari ownership materializes, we might have a nice budget in January to spend because they will clear the debt and give us £50 million more with FFP. I am positive about Man United this season, but we need to get. I think for me, we need to get Amrabat and Højlund. Once we've got Amrabat and Højlund, I will feel in a good place about United going into next season. But you know, we just need to get those deals done. Guys, please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new and share the video. I'm just going to read out the final stories, but before I end the live stream, if you do have any questions, pop them in the chat before the live stream ends. Would be appreciated as well. But I wanted to just get into a couple other bits and pieces and stories coming out regarding Højlund because a little bit of news has come out in the last hour while I've been live, and we'll just quickly cover that. And it's expected that United bid will go in. Alfredo Padella said that Man United's contacts with Rasmus Højlund are in progress, and it's confirmed that there will be a final bid between today and tomorrow. So we're basically being told there's going to be the final bid between today and tomorrow. So the Rasmus Højlund, here we go, is expected between today and tomorrow. And Man United, as Fabrizio Romano confirmed, feel they're at match point with the situation. And that as soon as Erik ten Hag knocks on the door, Mohamed Kudus will go to Manchester United. But Mohamed Kudus is more just a rumour. Højlund is obviously a situation being pursued. Mainoo needs a chance if we rotate midfield 100% as well. I'd love to ask Roy Keane about a transfer window. I'm sure he would have something to say about it unless you're prepared to bleed our club. Don't come to United. Yeah, I love Roy Keane's analysis as well. Kudus, Højlund and Rashford up front would be a killer trio, especially in terms of rotation and what we could do as well. We need to buy at least up to 4 more players, 2 strikers, 2 central midfielders. For me, realistically, Højlund, Amrabat. If we sell Maguire at centre back, Kudus or another attacker on top of that. Dream would be bringing in Caicedo, Kane, Højlund, probably Kim and Jay, but that one's gone. That one's gone. But we're on 237 likes, guys. I'm going to wrap up the live stream here. We've been live for just under an hour. Please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. If we do get any breaking news, there'll be a video tonight. I will keep an eye on the Rasmus Højlund stories. I will keep an eye on some of the other transfer news going about. So smash a like, smash the subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and bye.